Suprabhatam, Sudinam, Shubhasayam, from whichever part you have joined us this day. We are on the 32nd day of the Global Festival of Yoga being organized by Indica Yoga that offers inclusive and diverse forms of yoga that is authentic, immersive, and transformative. For this morning, we have with us Sri Lakshya ji, who is joining us from Mumbai to lead us a session on Yin Yoga, the way to open one's heart. I request Lakshya ji to kindly come on the screen.
Namaste.
Namaste, Lakshya ji. Swagatam. I'm very pleased to introduce Lakshya ji. Lakshya ji is a Hatha, Yin and Prenatal yoga teacher. She organizes yoga retreats in beautiful and unique places around the world and also shares Vedic wisdom, Sanskrit and chanting. In fact, she is highly inspired by the Vedic wisdom, which she tries to bring in all her sessions. Her aim is to provide support and guidance in all aspects of yoga, bridging Eastern knowledge and the Western way of life. Lakshya teaches yoga classes currently online through Zoom. Her classes focus on alignment, breathing, awareness, and mindfulness, which you'll get to taste it shortly. She believes in the healing power of one's own body and is also a strong advocate of natural living and organic foods. After becoming a mother, she has a 10-month-old beautiful daughter, Leela. Lakshya has become very passionate about guiding other women through their pregnancies and postpartum. Lakshya completed her first yoga teacher training with Sivananda in 2010. Thereafter, she studied Vedanta and Sanskrit with her guru, Swami Dayananda Saraswatiji, for 3 years at Arsha Vidya Gurukulam, Coimbatore. For those who are familiar, in Arsha Vidya Gurukulam, they have a very detailed 3-year course for Vedanta, and anyone who goes through that program would have a basic fundamentals of Vedanta very clearly instructed, and most of them have become very good teachers who pass through these 3 years program, and Lakshya ji is one of them. Since then, Lakshya ji attends yoga and Vedanta courses every year as part of her own sadhana. She has taught at the Barcelona Yoga Conference, the Vedic Wisdom Festival in Mumbai, and has her own yoga series on Tata Sky TV. Lakshya originally comes from Holland, but has spent her life living across the globe and found her home in India. So heartening to hear this, where she has been living since 2010. She also regularly visits her other home, Dubai, for classes and workshops. With this brief introduction, I request Lakshya ji to lead us, and I also welcome and invite all our participants who have joined us from across the world to enjoy a lovely session. And in case you have any questions, we would have very brief time after the practice. So maybe 1 or 2 questions at the end of the session, as Lakshya ji needs to go to take care of her baby soon. So we will not hold her for long. We'll just take 1 or 2 questions and then we'll conclude the session. So with this words, I request Lakshya ji to take over.
Thank you very much, Vinaya Chandraji. I will move to the mat. So good morning or good evening to everyone, depending on where in the world you are. I invite you to come and join me on the yoga mat. And for this session, you will need some support. So that is maybe a bolster if you have one, or else some cushions or pillows that you might be able to use to make yourself comfortable. We're going to start off today with a small meditation for us to arrive here on our mat. So please close your eyes. Find yourself in a comfortable seated position. If you need to keep some height under your buttocks, you can place a pillow or maybe a yoga block if you have one. Or if you're not comfortable sitting cross-legged, you could also sit on your knees in Vajrasana. We're going to start with tuning in and checking in with ourselves at 3 levels: the body, the breath, and the heart. Starting with the body, I'd like you to check in and do a quick scan of the body. Are there any areas in your body which are feeling tense? Are you clenching any muscles without realizing that you are doing so? And upon realizing, you might be able to relax them. For example, the shoulders. Feel the connection between the ground and your legs and your buttocks. Rooting and grounding you down. Now checking in with the breath, I'd like you to observe your breath at this point in time without changing it. Just observe what it's like. Our breath is a good indicator of how we feel physically, but also mentally and emotionally. Now I invite you to start and take your breath slower and deeper. Let each inhalation fill your lungs up completely, and each exhalation, you release all the air from your lungs. And we will practice something that's called as diaphragmatic breathing, also known as belly breathing. So when you inhale, your belly expands out. You can visualize a balloon getting inflated when you inhale. And when you exhale, the belly comes back in. I like to look at the breath as though it is an offering to ourselves. So each breath that we take is an offering of life to ourselves, an offering of prana. And therefore, we should not be rushed in this offering. And lastly, we will check in with our heart. And for this, you could place your hands on your heart center. Feel the warmth of your hands going into the heart space, the Anahata chakra. Our class today has a theme of opening the heart. So all the postures which we will be doing will be connected to the heart in one way or another. And our intention is to bring nourishment to the heart, to bring love, compassion, as well as stillness and a sense of inner peace. Visualize the color green in your heart chakra. This is the color of the heart chakra. If it's hard for you to visualize an actual color, maybe you can visualize an object with that color, such as a green leaf. And then that leaf, the color of the leaf can expand. And the bija mantra for this chakra is Yam. So we will chant together 5 times this mantra. You can follow me. Take an inhalation. Yam. 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 And from here, join the palms together in Anjali Mudra. And we will chant Om 3 times. Slowly bow your head down to your palms. And then inhale to lift your head up and blink your eyes open and release your hands. The first pose of today will be the child's pose, Adho Mukha Virasana. So you can start by coming onto your hands and your knees. We'll be taking the knees wide apart, the toes together, the big toes together, sitting back over your heels and resting your forehead down. Now, if you'd like to take some supports, then you can take the bolster if you have one, or your pillows, and you can also do this pose leaning over your support. In that case, you might want to turn your head over to the side. So please find your own comfortable variation of this pose. And we will be staying here for a couple of minutes. So while you are in this pose, I will be speaking, and there's no need to see the screen, as I'd really like you to stay grounded and stay put in the pose itself. So please go ahead and make yourself comfortable. Allow your body to settle down in the pose. To really yield itself to the pose. Now I will take this opportunity of this first asana to explain to you a little bit about the practice of Yin Yoga, especially for those who might be unfamiliar with it, or maybe this will be your first time practicing Yin Yoga. The poses in Yin Yoga are no different than you might find in other classes, but the way it is practiced is what makes it unique. It is a very, very slow practice where the postures are held anywhere between 2 to 6 minutes, and sometimes even beyond that. The idea or the goal of this practice is to allow your body to come into a state of relaxation, and also to reach a certain layer inside our body, which is called as the fascia. And the fascia is basically what holds our body together. It's a connective tissue that surrounds all your muscles and your bones. Now, why would we like to reach the fascia? It is because in the fascia, we often tend to hold our emotions, our stress, any sort of trauma, tightness. So through the practice of Yin Yoga, we can help to release all of that by stretching out the fascia in a very slow manner. That is why Yin Yoga is actually ideally practiced in the morning. Though you can practice it at any time of the day, but in the morning when your body is not yet warmed up, it's still cold, we can actually bypass the muscles and go straight away to the fascia. Now, coming back to where we are, I invite you to take some deep breaths while you are in the pose. We will continue with the diaphragmatic breathing throughout the practice. And once in a while, I will just remind you, as sometimes it's easy to fall back into old habits. With each exhalation, feel your body relaxing more and more, surrendering to this pose. Please feel free to make any sort of modification in this practice to make it comfortable for you. Because in Yin Yoga, we don't fix our bodies in order to suit the aesthetics of the asana. Instead, we change the asana or modify it around to suit our bodies. And every body is different. So therefore, there might be some variations in the way that you do it versus the way that I do it. And that is totally okay. This practice is all about you. And it's all about making yourself comfortable, nourishing yourself, and making the most out of each posture. From here, you can slowly come up by lifting your head up. And we will just come and sit down for a moment and take the legs forward. You can place the hands on the floor behind you, and let's rotate the ankles a couple of times. And in the other direction as well. Good. Move your knees up and down. Wonderful. And we will move on to the next posture, which is called as the Sphinx in Yin Yoga language. So for this, you can lie down on your belly. And you will be placing your forearms on the mat, parallel to each other. Okay, your feet can be together. However, if you have any sort of back pain, then please keep your legs apart. Now, if you are pregnant, please avoid this pose, and instead you can do the cow pose, which would be on your knees and arching your back like this. Here, you want to focus on lifting your chest up. Remember that this is a heart-opening posture, and our focus here will be on the Anahata chakra, the heart chakra. Roll the shoulders back, and you can close your eyes as well. Lift up through the top of your head. We won't be holding this pose for too long, maybe just a minute or so. In case you get tired, you can come down and come back up. Now remember to breathe deeply and become aware of all the sensations in the body. Where are you feeling this pose? Can you feel your heart expand? Now, if your arms are getting tired and you'd like a slightly gentler modification, then you can place the elbows on the floor and rest your chin on your hands. we have just a few more breaths here before we move on to one more variation of this pose. Now the next variation is slightly more intense, so I'm giving it optionally. So we will place the hands forward and actually straighten the arms. So you can see how far or how close you want to keep your hands away from you, and we'll just stay here for another 30 seconds. So allow the shoulders to remain down, your chest to open up, reaching up through the top of your head. Soften your face, soften the jaw. One of my teachers used to say that whenever you find a pose quite difficult, then bring a yogic smile onto your face, and that will immediately ease it up. All right, and lower down. Good. We'll take a small rebound here, so you can take your hands and form a pillow and rest your head to the side. All right, and then slowly take your hands on the floor and push yourself up, and we're coming into our next pose, which is called as Anahatasana, also known as the melting heart pose. It is slightly similar to the child's pose, but also quite different. We will stretch the arms out in front, as far forward as possible, and lower the chest down. Lower your chin or your forehead onto the mat. The forehead on the mat is a gentler variation. The chin on the mat is a little bit more intense. If you have a bolster with you, you can also use the bolster here to keep under your arms. And you can even rest your forehead on it. So make yourself comfortable in the pose. We'll stay there for about 3 minutes. And during this time, I'd like to share with you 3 principles of Yin Yoga. The first principle is to find an appropriate depth to come into. So you want to find your edge, the place where you feel like you are getting a really good stretch. Not too much, not too little. Just about right. And the second principle is to stay still once you've found that position. So avoiding to move around or avoiding any kind of fidgeting, but just allowing the body to yield to the pose. And the last principle is once you're in the pose, you are still, is to stay for a length of time. So that would be anywhere between 2 and 6 minutes. Now I invite you to take a couple of deep breaths here. And with each breath that you take, imagine that you are breathing into the heart space. You're breathing into the heart chakra. You're feeling it expanding. If you like, you can also visualize the green color expanding around your chest area. So we have about 1 more minute in this pose. Please make sure that you are comfortable, that your knees are supported. There's no pain anywhere. And then slowly raise your head up and come and sit back on your knees. And we'll just sit for a few moments again with the legs straight. We do a few small pauses in between the poses. They're called as rebounds. So here, feel free to move around a little if that feels right for you. And basically, we're giving the body an opportunity to reset before we start the next pose. Okay, I think we are ready to move on to the next pose. So we're coming onto the hands and the knees. And you'll bring your right leg forward. Okay, place it in between your hands. Bend your knee. And have your right knee above the right ankle. The left knee is down on the floor, but please make sure that it is comfortable and perhaps you need some padding. So in that case, you can fold your mat and rest the knee down. You want to make yourself as comfortable as possible. We'll be doing this pose in several phases. This is the first phase where we are warming up into it. Now feel the stretch here at your hip flexors. You can also come onto your fingertips. So you raise your chest up a little. Elongate your spine. Roll your shoulders back. Let's take a deep inhalation through the nose and exhale with a sigh through the mouth. And let's do that once again. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Letting go. We'll move on to the next phase. If this is already quite challenging for you, you can stay here. Otherwise, come up. And we'll come into this variation with the heart nice and open. You can also take your arms out to the side if you like to, or hold your waist. But the idea is to really nicely expand this area. Expand the heart chakra. We'll stay here for just 1 minute. Continue to breathe deeply. This is probably one of the most challenging postures in the Yin Yoga practice. So in case you feel like it is a bit intense, then please know that it's normal. And here's a nice opportunity to mentally repeat the Bija mantra, Yam, a couple of times. I will say it out loud. You can also repeat it out loud or repeat it in your head. Yum, 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 yum. All right, and slowly release your hands down. We're going to take the right leg back. And we will straight away go into the other side. So you take the left leg forward. In case it doesn't reach to the front, you just grab your ankle and bring it forward. And then lower your hips down to the floor. Keep the left knee above the left ankle. Look up. You can be on your fingertips, or if you have some yoga blocks, you can also place your hands on the yoga blocks. Allow your hips to relax, to sink down into the pose. You can close your eyes if you feel like it, so that you can be more connected inwards. With every breath that you take, feel your body relaxing. Continue to nourish yourself through the breath. Now we'll move on to the next phase. If this is already enough for you, please continue to stay here. And if you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can come up. Just make sure that your back knee is supported. And you can either keep your hands on your knee or on your waist, or even open your arms nicely so that you really get beautiful expansion of the heart. Continue with deep breathing. And we will do either the chanting or mental chanting japa of the Bija mantra. Yum, 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 yum. And slowly release your hands down. Okay, all right. Take your left leg back and we're coming into a rebound. So lying down on your belly, make a pillow with your hands, and this time you can turn your head to the other side. Give your body the opportunity to relax, to rebound, to let go. And if you're feeling any sort of discomfort from the previous pose, you could move your hips a couple of times from side to side. And then lift your head up and come up. We will move into the next pose, for which you will need a bolster if you have one, or some cushions, or even if you have a yoga block, you can use the block. And we will place this support on the mat about 3/4 of the way. We'll be going into Matsyasana, fish pose, supported fish pose. Okay, so the bolster or the cushion will be coming right behind your heart, and you'll rest over it. So I will show it to you. So you can sit in front of it and then lean back, making sure that your cushion or your bolster is exactly behind the heart area, and then placing the top of the head back behind you and stretch your arms over your head. In case you're using a cushion or a pillow, maybe you can take 2 of them and place them behind the heart center. Make sure that you're comfortable and make sure that your head reaches the other side of the floor. In case it doesn't, you can take 1 more cushion and place it underneath your head. Close your eyes. Feel the heart area expanding out. Visualize the color green in your heart chakra. And visualize that with each breath that you take, this color expands. I'd like you to think about something, a person, a place, an experience that makes you feel a lot of love. That makes you feel loved. As you think about this person or place, feel your heart area filling up with that love. And see if you can direct and spread this feeling all throughout your body. First, going up towards your head, to the throat, into your face, and then going down the arms, into the hands, and going down your body, into your belly, back, the hips, into your legs until your entire body is completely filled with love. I'd like to read a small passage for you from a book called The Art of Living while you are in the pose. Our quality of life and true happiness does not depend on external conditions or external proof. It does not depend on how much money we have or what kind of job or car or house we have. True happiness depends on our capacity to cultivate compassion and understanding and bring nourishment and healing to ourselves and our loved ones. All of us need to love and be loved. Once you have cultivated love and understanding in yourself, you have something to offer to others. Freedom, peace, love, and understanding are not things we can obtain from the outside. They are something already available within us. Our practice is to do everything we can in order to bring love, understanding, freedom, and fearlessness to light by looking deeply into ourselves and by listening to ourselves. A true friend is someone who offers peace and happiness. If you're a true friend to yourself, you're able to offer yourself the true peace and happiness that you seek. So though this comes from a Buddhist teacher, the teachings are very similar to the teachings that we find in Vedanta. So we will slowly come out of the pose. So from where you are, you bring the hands down, and using the support of your elbows, you slowly lift yourself up. And you can come and sit for a moment. See what that pose did for you. Maybe you are suddenly sitting a lot straighter. We will get ready for our very last pose of the day already, or of this session, which is Supta Baddha Konasana, the reclined butterfly. So for that, you can also use your pillows, if you have them, or your bolster. And this time we'll be placing it the other way, okay, like this. And if you're having pillows, you can place the pillows behind you. If you don't have any pillows on hand, don't worry, you can just do the pose directly on the floor as well. This just makes it a little bit more comfortable. You will sit in front of the bolster, take your feet together in a butterfly position, and from here, slowly lean back using the support of your hands and come and lie down in a reclined butterfly, opening your arms out to the side, palms facing up. If you have any sort of discomfort in your hips or in your knees, then please take some additional support for under your knees that will help you to be more comfortable. Close your eyes and allow yourself to settle into the pose, remembering the three components of Yin Yoga. Finding your appropriate depth, making a strong resolution to stay still, and staying for a length of time. We will use this opportunity to breathe deeply into our heart space. So with every inhalation, we're breathing into the heart space. With every exhalation, we are releasing and letting go. Letting go of anything which doesn't serve us any longer. Inhaling love. Exhaling and letting go. Continue to stay in the pose for a few more minutes. My guru, Swami Dayananda Saraswatiji, used to say, everything that you are seeking is already within you. All the love, acceptance, approval that we are seeking outside from others, all of that is already within us. So we don't need to turn outward to get that. Instead, we need to turn inward. You are what you are seeking. And ultimately, it is through our own self-acceptance, knowing that all that we come with, all that we are, is fully acceptable. We are love. Every part of me, my bright sides, my shadows, all of it is acceptable. And only then can we find the true freedom from suffering. It is a journey that we must take in this life to find self-acceptance. Yoga is a tool to help us with that. It is a means, but not the end. I'd like you to take a deep inhalation through your nose and exhale with a nice loud sigh through your mouth. Shall we do that once again? Inhale. Release. We will slowly make our way out of the pose. So you can start by bringing your arms down and using the support of your elbows, push yourself up slowly into a seated position. Take your time, there's absolutely no rush. And once you found yourself back into a comfortable seated position, place your right hand on your heart center and your left hand on top of the bed. I'd like to finish our session today with a chant. The words are Dhanyo Ham, Dhanyo Ham, Dhanyo Dhanyaha, Punaf Punar Dhanyaha. Don't worry if you don't get them. I will chant them a couple of times. And if you like to chant along, please feel free to do so. And all the while staying connected to the heart center. Dhanyo Ham, Dhanyo Ham, Dhanyo Dhanyaha, Punaf Punar Dhanyaha, Dhanyo Ham, Dhanyo Ham, Dhanyo Dhanyaha, Punaf Punar Dhanyaha, Dhanyo Ham, Dhanyo Ham, Dhanyo Dhanyaha, Punaf Punar Dhanyaha, Dhanyo Ham, Dhanyo Ham, Dhanyo Dhanyaha, Punaf Punar Dhanyaha, Punaf Punar Dhanyaha. Grateful I am, grateful I am. Again and again, over and over again, grateful I am. Now we can join the palms together at the heart center, and we will chant one Om followed by 3 Shantis. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Slowly bow your head down to your palms. And inhale to lift up and blink your eyes open. Thank you. Thank you all for joining me today. And I will open the floor for any questions now for 5-10 minutes.
Thank you, Lakshya ji, for a highly soothing, calming, peaceful practice. It's a wonderful way to begin the day or to wind up the day, depending on where all our participants are. Thank you very much for that. So we'll just see what questions we have. We have quite many compliments, words of gratitude. nice and deep relaxation in yoga session, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much. Simple, slow, steady, with full of awareness from Suresh. Yes, I think all our participants are in that relaxed, calm mode. And it's a
Totally.
beautiful way to be in rather than always be thinking about questions.
Yeah, actually, maybe you want to just stay with that feeling in your heart
True.
and hopefully bring it with you throughout the rest of your day.
Yes. So I just like to mention, because you were referring to fascia, we had a session dedicated for yoga for fascia. So all our participants, I request you to kindly visit a session from Karol Dalmas. It was on the second week of the festival, where the entire day's practice is focused about how to work with the fascia, especially helping oneself to release the various kind of emotional blockage that might be there at the fascia level. So that session by Karol Dalmas was about it. We also had a session on the first week itself by Nidhi Chaudhary on yoga for women, and also another session from Vanessa, which spoke about the heart-womb connection. So which is related to what a little bit of work that we did this morning, especially focusing on the heart chakra. So these connections would help you to have a larger perspectives, and again would like to invite you to connect and participate and just fall back on all these sessions. So, Lakshya ji, this is a common question that we have. How can people connect with you, follow your work, and also if they want to have classes, do you offer classes? How can they connect with you?
Sure, you can contact me through my website, which is lakshyayoga.com, or through social media like Instagram. I'm there as Lakshya Yoga as well. I am conducting classes through Zoom at the moment, Hatha yoga classes, as well as prenatal yoga classes. So feel free to get in touch with me and I will give you some more information there.
Okay, we have a question from Dilan Long, who had joined us from Singapore, who is asking, how is the practice of Yin Yoga different from deep stretches or relaxation and Shavasana? How to find the appropriate depth? You mentioned about the three principles, how to find the appropriate depth, and how long should we stay in the pose in order for the healing to be effective?
Okay, let's hope I remember all the questions. I will go backwards. So how to find the...
Okay, the first question is, how is it different from deep stretches or relaxation in Shavasana?
So it is actually very similar to if you're basically doing an hour of really deep stretches that are targeting certain areas, then you can actually say that you are doing Yin Yoga. We in Yin Yoga have certain postures that we follow. Most of them, as you can see from today's class, are down on the floor, on the mat. And there are certain target areas that we like to reach in the pose. So if you do this regularly, or if you do deep stretching poses for an hour, it is quite similar to doing Yin Yoga. Now, how to find your appropriate depth is, I can't tell you. You can only find out for yourself. You can, for example, you know your own capacity and you can go about 75% of your capacity. And the reason why we're saying that is because you will stay in it for a while. So if you're really giving it or your all, and you're really tensing yourself to stay in a pose, first of all, you won't relax. And secondly, you won't be able to stay in it for a couple of minutes. So therefore, we suggest to go about 75% of the way. And you'll know it. You'll know when you reach your edge. It feels just right. And then how long you want to stay in the pose is entirely up to you, anywhere between 2 to 6 minutes. So there's no right answer there. It's really how you like to do it or how your teacher likes to guide you.
True. Yesterday, one of our teachers was saying that there's no wrong way of doing it, there is no right way of doing it. It's just there is about the better way of doing it, and one has to discover it for oneself.
Yeah, exactly. It is really a self-discovery. And one of the beauties of Yin Yoga, which I really appreciate, is that it's all about making the pose work for you. So you can modify it as much as you need to in order for it to work for you. And therefore, anyone from any age and with any sort of condition can do the practice, because it's not focused on getting it right. It's focused on making it work for you.
True. So I'll just take one last question. This is from Ragini Singh ji, who's asking, what variation do you suggest for people with knee issues and stiffness of joints? Or if I can expand the question a little bit, because there were some positions, especially while you are going down and holding the positions. Is it good for people who have aged and who have issues with, especially their knees and other points? Or you suggest any variation? Or what would you suggest for seniorly people?
I would suggest that you take a blanket or some sort of padding that you can keep under your knees to practice it. There are some postures which might be too much if you have any knee injury or just general discomfort in your knee, and then you can avoid those poses. But generally, if you keep a nice thick blanket, something like this, you know, and it's like Iyengar blankets, but even a regular blanket that you might have at home, if you keep it under your knees, that should help you a lot to be more comfortable.
Okay, so thank you very much, Lakshya ji, for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing me here and giving me this wonderful opportunity to be part of this amazing festival. I'm feeling very honored. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also would like to express our gratitude to Swamini Atma Prakashanand for connecting us, and also Leela for allowing this session to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just have one more request from you. We would like to hear one parting message that you would like to share with all our participants. It could be a message, it could be a tip for practice, a guideline, whatever you feel inspired at the moment.
Sure.
But for that, we'll just come back in a minute. I'll do the announcements and then come back in a minute. Ram Prasad ji, can I request you for the announcements, please? So this evening we have a session from Circe, a good friend from Geneva, who will be joining us on Connect Within, experimenting with voice, breath, and movements. She is a singer, a voice trainer, and founder of a yoga voice studio in Geneva. So she will help us to understand what the inner voice is about and how one can express it, and what practices, which includes physical practice, the breath, and the modulation of the voice, which will allow oneself to express the inner voice. So that will be the session for the evening. And for tomorrow morning, we have a very interesting session, the Tirumala Siddha Yogam, the yoga of the Siddha tradition. We are familiar with yoga expressing in many different traditions. So one such tradition is the Siddha tradition of the South India, that is from Tamil Nadu. So Dr. Vetri Vendan will be presenting before us about the yoga of the Siddha tradition. And tomorrow evening, I'll be coming with you for a session on Upanishads, the fountainhead of the yogic wisdom. So these are the sessions lined up till tomorrow evening. And do stay with us. And I also would like to inform all our friends that all these sessions are recorded and made available on Indica Yoga YouTube channel for free for all seekers. Even this session that we had, you went through this session, but you might want to again practice it once again. So please make use of it. That is available on Indica Yoga YouTube channel. Please share, please invite other people also to join and make use of all these resources. So with this, I come back to Lakshya for your final message for the day.
Sure. I would just like to send my prayers for your well-being, everyone's well-being, and both physically as well as mentally and emotionally. And I think my message for the day, especially in these times, we're in very strange times right now, is to take it one day at a time. And I draw inspiration from my daughter with this, especially now that she has started to learn how to walk. You know, she's just starting. And so baby steps, that is the message. One day at a time and with baby steps. So thank you very much. Thank you to Indica Yoga for hosting me. And I wish you all a beautiful day.
Thank you. That was a lovely message. Beautiful steps, small steps, one step at a time. Thank you.